Welcome to the meeting of the Monteagle Municipal Regional Planning Commission. Roll call. Alec Mosley. Here. Greg Malou. Here. Dan Sargent. Here. Dan Brown. Here. And Katie Trahan.
Here.
Richard Blank. Here. Okay, approval of, has everybody get a chance to review the meetings from November? We did not have a December meeting. Anything we need to talk about? Any corrections, changes, additions? Do I have a motion to approve?
I move we approve the minutes as circulated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
All those for?
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. We need to elect new officers. So we'll do that before we go into the staff report. So, Jonathan?
Yes. So we will need to get a motion and a second for the chairman, and then once the chairman is voted on, the chairman will then take over the rest of the elections for vice and secretary. So do we have a motion for chair?
I nominate Richard Black for chair.
We have a second?
Second.
Mayor? All right. Any discussion
Any further
or
nominations?
any further nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
All right.
Second.
All right.
Call for a vote by acclamation, unless he's running.
That's you, John.
Yeah, so all those in favor of Richard as the chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Richard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate the support. With that, we will hold the election for a vice chairman. I'll open the floor for a nomination for vice chairman.
I nominate Alec Mosley.
We have a nomination for Alec Mosley.
Second.
Any other nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
Nominations are closed. All those for Alec Mosley for vice chairman.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carries. Next is for secretary.
I nominate Katie Trahan.
We have a nomination for Katie Trahan.
Second.
Any other nominations? Do we have a move to vote?
Nominations are closed.
Nominations are closed. All those for Katie Trahan?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Okay, Jonathan, you're back up. We will talk about any staff or community reports that we have.
Nothing that I am aware of. We haven't had any plats recently. We had, I think, 3 staff approved plats the last time that I was here, but I don't know of any others so far. At least I'm coming before me. I don't know if Mayor or Travis have anything they want.
I do. I don't know if this is the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman, to bring it up, but there was some concerns about the Planning Commission requesting the mayor and alderman to pass an ordinance concerning sketch plan versus site plan. So I think what the mayor and alderman at their last meeting asked for was a more concise definition of what they wanted as far as site plan versus sketch plan versus whatever ordinance governs. And I hope I said that right. Grant?
Yeah, if I could, I think what we're looking for not only is a definition of a better definition of a sketch plan, but really more to change a little bit of the language so that either taking the sketch plan out of it and giving new verbiage to what is required for a quicker approval than a full-on site plan. We were concerned with some of the I think it was 25 foot. If it was smaller than X number of square feet and stuff, that it could do a sketch plan. And with what we've got going on with the zoning, the new zoning, there could be some new buildings that would be fairly smaller than this, or within the limits of the square footage, and they would require some utilities, they would require some potentially drainage plans and all, since these will be kind of new, potentially skinny, new businesses along Main Street. So we felt like the sketch plan probably just a sketch plan didn't give us enough, didn't give you all enough information to move forward. So we just asked for a little bit more detail to be put into what is required for a minimum square footage new building that's coming up.
This goes along with the C1 zoning that
Yes.
we're presently reviewing?
That's correct.
So it's basically the C1 business district.
It could happen in other places
In
too,
other
but
places,
that was the area of concern originally.
Thank you.
So you want us to better define what we had requested?
Yes, and I think what would probably work best is to have a list, and it can be a short list of 4 to 5 things that would be required in a building that small, that the sketch plan doesn't really identify. And it doesn't have to be the long list that you need for a full-on site plan, but something shorter, but we should make it a little more definitive about, okay, it should have some sort of drainage requirements, it should have utilities. I don't know if landscaping, if you want to include that, just a short list of some things that that defines what you're either going to call a sketch plan or something new.
So I believe the way the ordinance was drafted, and I would have to look at it again, is that the sketch plan essentially was to expand it what fell under your current sketch plan requirements, because you already have existing sketch plan requirements that require certain things. You have to show parking, you have to show drainage, you have to show stuff, everything, but the building inspector is the one that approves the sketch plan, not the full planning commission.
And we may have been we looked up the sketch plan and it didn't give a whole lot of detail.
Yeah, I think it's smaller than the site plan, but that's intentional because the idea is you're not going to have as much, because obviously all your single family houses and duplexes fall under sketch plan requirements.
We were concerned about the lack of detail in the sketch plan. It sounded like somebody could draw something on a napkin and get building approval for a new building along Main Street. We were just looking for a little bit better definition.
Yeah, we can put that in. I believe also we do still have the provision that if the building inspector is not comfortable approving it, he can refer it to the planning commission.
Right, we didn't want to put that onus on just the building inspector. We wanted to have a little bit better definition.
So did the city commission, or the board, mayor, alderman, did you guys vote to send it back to planning commission?
Well, I think we voted it down, was that right?
Yes.
Remember?
Pending information from.
Okay,
tonight's
so it needs to
meeting.
be brought again by the planning commission.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, that C1 has certain guidelines, but I think when you introduce the phrase sketch plan, as Grant said, that's a little loose. What is a sketch plan? What size area? What isn't covered by? What is covered by it? What is not covered by it? And it looks like future planning and looking ahead, the C1 district may have certain challenges to a sketch plan vis-a-vis a site plan. So that's why I think they're just looking for a better definition, a better checklist, a better guidance, whatever the words are, but that's basically, I think, how we left it.
A simple
Correct me if I'm wrong,
fix is 4 or 5 items that would need to be included for these minimum square foot buildings. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Okay.
There was some discussion, I think, about 1,000 square feet, and I think it said, as long as it wasn't over 1,000 square feet or something, that the sketch plan was permissible.
Right.
I think the idea is if somebody's putting additions to their existing building, and as long as it did not exceed 1,000 square feet, which is pretty common.
I don't think
in
this
most-
said existing.
This was new building.
I think this actually said new, or it certainly didn't say existing structures. It was.
There was a paragraph on existing and there was another paragraph on new buildings. That's where we got hung up on the new buildings.
Jonathan, can you feed off of what was submitted to them and
Yeah, I
comments
can
have been
put some
made
stuff together and.
and submit something back to us so where we could review it?
Yeah, yeah.
and hopefully have it before our next meeting.
Thank you.
Jonathan, if you want to reach out, I'll be glad to help.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I say, I just want to make
Convey
sure,
what we-
it sounds like the issue is you guys just want it, so that way there's less gray area of what falls under your sketch plan requirements, and that it's, if certain like commercial buildings that are allowed, maybe having a little additional restrictions in terms of those, so they can't just be whatever, you know, quickly approved. It has to have some scrutiny.
Okay. Jonathan, any other business reports? Travis, you got anything to talk about?
I do not.
You're good? What about the police department?
No, sir.
Don't want to put you on the spot. We're good?
Yes, sir.
Thank both of y'all for what you do.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
You got some good guys. Okay, old business, Monteagle Market revised site plan, and I believe that's what you handed out earlier.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if y'all had a chance to look at it. I know we had issues in November. We had some open-ended issues that we had to deal with.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Jonathan, I have trouble reading a lot of what you send us when I print it on my home printer because it's extremely tiny. But
Yeah.
one of the drawings you sent us, someone, and I think it's you, had written a note and said, what is the plan for this existing high-rise? And I believe that probably refers to those two tall pylons that have the remnants of a sign at the top of them. Did you ever get an answer to that?
Yes, what I understand, if I'm correct, this is that they will remove that, and they're gonna tear that down, the existing high-rise. So the one that's empty and doesn't have anything on it, that's, I don't know, like 50, 60 feet tall.
So the only sign outside the building or the canopies will be this one that we see, that's the Misty's Market BP sign?
Yes.
Giving us a drawing.
Travis, have you seen these for sign ordinance?
Yes, that's
For BP and Misty Market?
yes.
Jonathan, do you have any exceptions to?
Yeah, I don't have any exceptions to the signs. I think that resolved the big issue with the signs was what they were gonna do with that existing high-rise, because I think originally it sounded like there were plans to use it, and both Travis and I had concerns about that, but that's essentially moot now since they're going to plan to remove that, and then their proposed sign adheres to all the sign regulations in terms of height and maximum square footage.
Okay.
The only other concern I may have is, and this is up to you guys to determine how you want to proceed with it, is that it sounds like they've moved kind of their access a little bit, and that is a TDOT issue more so than any other issue. I've not heard anything from TDOT. Sounds like I've been informed that essentially TDOT, again, I have not reached out to TDOT directly, but they said that they reached out to TDOT, and TDOT said they wouldn't proceed anything until Monteagle had decided what they were going to do.
And that's what I'm not sure of, and full disclosure, I had conversation with Mr. Newhoff, and that's when he sent the plans that I forwarded to members of the Planning Commission. But what is the issue? Is it ingress and egress from the site?
So, the only difference is there used to be 2 parking spots, and so that entrance got shifted to the right, so those parking spots are just now moved on the left side of that entrance. And what TDOT was telling the engineers was basically, if you guys are okay with it and are willing to move forward with it, they would just need like a written letter saying that you guys are okay with it, and they would be fine with it if the city is okay with it.
So they'd accept a letter from the Planning Commission?
Yes, correct.
All right, well, sadly, I didn't catch all that you said. Do you mind coming up and just showing us here on these plans real quick?
Yeah.
Do you mind? No. Because if you're going to send a letter, we need to do it right.
So
This,
these two parking spaces were over here.
okay,
And then the client just wanted to shift it so all the parking spaces were on this side of the,
in one row.
yeah,
And so there was always ingress, egress over here somewhere.
yes, correct.
And
Okay,
it's
so
the
you're just sliding it over.
same width as it was, just in different locations.
Yeah, same way.
Dan, Katie, you got that? The in and out slides down so all the parking slots are in a row.
So right here.
It's clouded on this
So
drawing.
these little
if
two
you
parking
stay.
spots were actually over here to begin with.
Mhm.
And then the client just wanted to shift the entrance over here, but it's the same dimension and everything. He just wanted all this parking to be in the same side of the lot.
Okay. And what is this clouded area here about?
So this, it used to be like more landscape here, about like 2 parking spots. And then he wanted to add more parking spots here, but that was a very earlier revision that he had.
Okay.
And what I understand, you said that all these clouds, because I was very confused what the clouds were just areas that were different from the original site plan that was approved.
Yeah, so all the little bubble revisions, those are just like updates that the site
Yeah,
plan
because
has.
I was very confused about what the heck these clouds are.
Sorry about that.
So everything else that you have presented here, is that the same as what has been built?
As far as I know, the building, all of this has been built, like, because they had a driveway previously, but then that got removed. But I don't know how far ahead they are into this area over here.
They're pretty far ahead.
So they are.
Mm-hmm. And so are they building that the way they presented it here?
I'm not too quite sure.
That
but-
seems like that would be something you should be in the loop on.
Mhm. But I know whatever you guys were planning to accept, they were going to make the changes as necessary.
Well, if they've already built it and they didn't build it per plan, then again, they've gone ahead with something that they shouldn't have. Because they're presenting one thing and built something else, which has happened. Because they are showing the tanks here and they put them in way down here. And they're showing all the gas pumps going straight, and it appears that they built them at an angle. Mhm.
Some of the issues from the previous meeting were, Alec, I think you had a question on the height of the building, if it met.
The height of the sign. I thought they were going to put a sign on top of those
Okay.
tall pylons.
And now they're removing those.
And it was conversation about taking out the drive-through, but the drive-through, I mean, I don't know if that all got, I assume the drive-through is gone.
Yeah,
No,
that's-
no, the drive-through was on
And
the end.
On the
near
right side. They eliminated the one on the left side.
Okay.
well, my point last at that meeting was not so much whether I thought they needed a drive-through, but the changing of a plan that has been approved by this commission without coming back and asking for consent to approve the plan, to revise the plan. And from what Katie's saying, it sounds like that may have happened again.
Yeah.
What did I do with that sheet?
I don't know,
Do we have any original plans somewhere in that?
Travis, you have the same plans we're looking at now?
I'm assuming yes.
Okay.
So basically, here's where they are showing it, and here's where they've installed it. I mean, I did this, but based off of what is easily observable. And this is how that they've installed these. And, you know, that's just not, to me, that's not acceptable. And then they're coming back before us, showing it the exact way we originally approved it,
but that's not how it's built.
but that's not how they're building it. And there's no you know, ask him for a change, they didn't cloud something, there's no, I mean, there's no acknowledgement that they're doing something that's completely different, and that's gonna change traffic flow, that could impact the landscaping. I'm just gonna pass this guy down so you guys know what I'm talking about.
You know, I'm concerned when I was looking at it, I think it was yesterday, with the drive-through window on that side of the building, which was supposed to be on the other. It's going to create, to me, it's going to create a real traffic issue here, pulling out into, when you're showing 2 lanes, just like here, you're showing 2 lanes, and now they've got to merge into one to exit the property. It just didn't look good to me.
I have a question what would the point would be of our approving a site plan which does not reflect conditions on the ground? I mean, what would we accomplish by approving a site plan that you've submitted if they've built something quite different?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of those changes that they currently have. This was what the client had said was okay to move forward with. So I don't know if he plans on doing any further changes or doing it the way that he told me was accepted for submitting to the planning commission.
I feel like he should understand that if he's made changes, and this is, and which he has, I mean, I don't know, Travis, you know that the tanks are not on
No, the only change that I was aware of was the drive-through windows, and that was what I had originally, so the original, and I'm shooting off my mind here, so if you guys jump in and interject, the original plan of this was that they were gonna have a single drive-through window on one end, and then they proposed 2 drive-through windows, and they was gonna push this back to the BZA because that was gonna change the setbacks, the deliveries, if I remember right. And then mid-project, well, mid-plan, I'm gonna say, I received a phone call. He wanted to take the far left, looking face the building, the far left drive-through window out completely. That was gonna be a separate mercantile, which was original plan. And then he was gonna put the Moss Circle, I call it the Moss Circle drive-through on the Piggly Wiggly end. And it was gonna be a loop, kind of a turnout into traffic on the Moss Circle and then approach the stop sign on the state route. That's the only change that I was familiar with, and the only other thing that I worked on was the pylons on the sign, which we resolved. So, and then the tanks, I've been down and looked at the fuel islands, the concrete post and the sets for all the anchoring for the canopy. That was the only thing that I inspect there because the state goes in and does the tank inspections and all that stuff with the contractor. I just get the reports on the tanks. So.
Well, and I guess it's a possibility, certainly, because I haven't gone and walked on the construction site, but are they straight on, or are they?
I'll be honest, Katie,
slant?
I've not even paid attention to it because the state does all the tank stuff and then I just get the report.
No, this
I'm
is
talking about the
Pumps.
The
Pylons
pumps.
for the
Oh,
pump.
yeah, the pumps. No, you're right, they're at an angle.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the tanks, aren't they to the left? If you're at,
Yeah, so on your face, it's on the left front.
they're not supposed to be.
Yes.
They're supposed to be to the right.
Yes. So then the only other thing that I thought on that, just putting thought into it, was this due to the swap on the entrance onto the T-Dot approach for what they're talking with moving the parking stalls over. Is there something that went on there? I know the contractor hit a lot of rock. I know they had a jackhammer on site for probably 3 or 4 weeks working on it. I have no idea. I wasn't updated. I just know they went through some complications.
I don't think so, because I saw when they started digging on the left.
I agree. And I'd be happy to check further into it for you and report back to you.
So these changes may have been implemented in lieu of the fact that the state requires certain different things, and maybe that's why the tank farm landed on a different spot, and maybe that's why the islands are all parallel instead of angled, and maybe that's something the state stepped in. It's not necessarily the contractor that decided this, maybe he was mandated to do that. Is that a correct assumption?
That's an assumption, yes. And then, like I said, the only thing that I can attest to is the canopy post, the sets, because I did go out and inspect that and inspected all the forming on it and stuff. I documented all that, and that was within scope, within compliance. That's all I can attest to. As far as anything with the tank, the fuel islands, the way they're positioned, I don't know anything about that.
All right. Well, we've had a lot of confusion on this project and some unusual changes being made without our knowledge, but wouldn't it be appropriate to have the engineer draw a site plan reflecting what's actually there and ask us to approve it rather than approve something that's now fictional?
I mean, they started digging these tanks before Thanksgiving. So, I mean, that's been a long time where that could have been updated on here well before they turned this in.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, my thoughts would be that we should have something accurate to look at before we're approving something. Did you pass it all the way down?
I think too. I don't know what we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
If it would satisfy this commission, as well as the firms, I would ask for a revised site plan to reflect the current project to be submitted to these folks for review within the next planning commission, or I'll issue a stop work order on the project until we can get it brought to standard.
Because we're almost dealing with as-built plans right now as opposed to what we approved to begin with.
Jonathan, have we tabled this before?
That's been tabled. I would recommend, since the thing that you guys are talking about is that this is no longer really a revised site plan, it's almost a new site plan because of how the changes they've made. I would recommend to deny it and then have them submit a new site plan that accurately reflects what is being built and is going to be built. What's been built and what's going to be built on this property.
But since it's built, wouldn't we be satisfied with a set of as-built plans?
But I mean, whatever.
What are we going to do with the information? So we get a site plan and all that, are we going to approve that? I just don't understand the next step after that.
You still have a landscaping plan that's going to have to be looked at and reflected upon. You still got the stormwater plan that's going to have, affect runoff onto the route. With curbage, there's a lot of stuff that's left on this plan. I would recommend, if it was me, and I read the plans regularly when I go out to them, I would steer away from the as-built plan because that's going to kind of open up the possibility that that's what we're going to get. I would just ask to reflect where we're at and kind of catch us up. The things that I've looked at down there, they're within the minimum standard of code. The signs has been caught up. We've answered the question with the pylons and the engineering questions on it. I know there were some setback issues. It is what it is. We're not going to be able to change that, moving the whole building. So if we can just get caught up where we're at, get a stamp on it, and let's move forward. That way, at least the landscape plan, our stormwater plan, our curbage, all that remains. That's my recommendation.
I move we disapprove the site plan as submitted on the grounds that it does not reflect the conditions that the developer is creating, and ask that a site plan which does reflect those conditions be submitted and that no further changes be made without approval. Once the site plan is approved, build it the way it's approved, unless you come back and get approval for a revision to the site plan. That's my motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Any conversation?
Well, just to be clear, they'll submit site plan information for the balance of the work to be done?
That's what I'd like to see.
That reflects.
That reflects what they
as it is now.
actually plan to do, including what they have already done. and then build it that way.
All those for?
Aye.
All opposed? This is taking way too long
Yes.
to get this done, and it didn't have to be that way. I mean, we didn't get the information we were expecting back. I'm just being real honest with you, after y'all went to BZA the first time. So, there's been a lot of unanswered questions here. So, hopefully, from here forward, there'll be transparency, that everybody understands, the builder, the owner, contractor, whoever it is, that if there's a change, whatever you submit back, if there's a change, that the builder can't make that decision, and the contractor can't make that decision. If it's a material change, and there needs to be transparency. Okay? Okay, moving on, do we have any other properly presented old business? Okay, let's move to Town Place Suites site plan. Do we have a representative for, okay? You're gonna speak loud, I can't hear that well, okay?
Yeah, so
You can stay there, we don't
Okay.
have our mics up. so-
Yeah, so I'm with ASA Engineering, so we did the site plan, we did these drawings. So we have been in contact with Jonathan and then Travis Wilson, the engineering reviewer, received comments and addressed those. And just if you guys had any questions, I want to make sure I answered anything outstanding, or if there was any more information you guys needed.
Do they comply with everything Travis Wilson noted?
They do.
So there are no open items for water or sewer?
Not that we have received. You know, as his last round of comments, we had some discussion because of the potential TDOT change in that
Yes.
area. So in conversation, it was told to us that we have the understanding that if TDOT changes down the road affect this, it is not on the town, it is on the developer. The developer has acknowledged that and said they would like to submit these plans for approval, and if it changes, that will be dealt with on the developer
And
side.
there's no question as to the building location vis-à-vis water or sewer lines?
Not that we are aware of.
Jonathan, do you have anything?
The only thing I have, because obviously stormwater and utilities are town engineers, sign plans, there is a entry sign that's supposed to be, I think it's a monument sign, I believe. But those have not been submitted. And I don't believe you guys have signed copies to sign tonight, so you guys couldn't get it actually
Yeah, so
signed.
that was one thing I was a little unsure about, was in the ordinance, there was a note, I think it was in chapter 10, section 1005, where it just mentioned, you know, the representative, where is it? Will bring copies to sign. The applicant or the representative shall bring 5 copies or more as requested. That said deleted for 24-23, so because of that, we did not have copies. The owner's representative mentioned potentially bringing them, but because of that, I didn't have copies.
Yeah, I believe, I'm not exactly sure why that's there, but I think there's another section that kind of supersedes that and does require you to have those copies. Because that's, again, the site plans are what Travis, the lawyer, the building inspector, goes by. So whenever you guys get your building permit, you're building it to the specs that are approved for the plan.
Well, there was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Your notes, Jonathan, indicate that the utilities and stormwater need to be approved by the town engineer. Has that been heard from?
Well, I was going to have a follow-up question, and this is not entrapment, it's just, I need to be clear. There was conversation I had with Travis Wilson that a portion of the building may or may not have extended over a water or sewer line.
Oh, okay. So yes, we did talk to Travis about that. And we asked, would it be acceptable if the building foundation was modified in order to be flush with the building face and therefore not extend over any building setbacks or easements? So we didn't have concerns about it extending over any actual utility lines, but potentially he brought up over I think 11 inches over an easement or something like that. And so I had discussion with the structural engineer about modifying the foundation in order to be flush with the building face and therefore be out of setbacks and easements. And that has been accepted by the structural engineer, and they're updating their plans.
And it was accepted by the structural engineer. Was it accepted by Travis Wilson?
I don't know that I heard back that he was okay with that. I would have to double check because we were coordinating that right before the holiday, so he was out of town.
Yes, he was till today, I believe.
Okay.
And that was my concern. Obviously, I've had conversation on this, and we welcome you. We're anxious to get this project going. It's just, we want to do it right. Quite frankly, the brief history, there have been things done where the engineer was not necessarily brought into the loop. So we're doing that now with everything.
Absolutely.
As you've heard tonight. So if you would double check the site plan, whatever's involved, we just don't want anything over the right of way or water or sewer lines. Thank you.
You also mentioned there was an understanding you had with TDOT or whoever it was, as far as if the road changed, that you would bear the expense. Was that documented somewhere, Jonathan? Having an understanding and having a documentation for that is two different things.
I'm not aware of this. What was the?
So I could say it was in multiple, I have emails that we have email record where Travis said, please note this about your plans, and we have email response saying noted, ASA is aware of this, the client is aware of this.
I think I know what you're talking about. So the thing was the issue, I think I understood it, and again, I don't know exactly because I'm not Travis, is that I thought there would be notes on the actual site plan saying that they were not, that the town would not be held responsible. I think developers, engineers deemed that not necessary.
So here's the discussion with Travis. So he said, note this area currently within the TDOT interchange project and is subject to TDOT permitting and approval. Final alignment and placement will need to conform to the TDOT interchange project plans and be approved by the town engineer. In no case will the town be responsible for the cost or responsibility for relocation of the installed line if subsequently affected by the TDOT interchange program alignment. So that was a comment we received. We put that note on the plans and then received the same comment again. And so we asked, is the intent for this to be added as a note on the plans? We are happy to add it, but we want to make sure we were meeting the intent of the comment received so that it didn't hold up any approvals. The response we got is this is not intended to be added verbatim as a note on the plans. However, the town wants to be sure that the developer understands they will not likely be in tandem with the TDOT work and will need to coordinate through them and the town with potential alignment conflicts with what is currently in the ground. The point being that although the developer may choose to install everything ahead of the TDOT project, which may necessitate the line being relocated as part of the TDOT project, which neither the town nor TDOT will compensate. If the developer deems it necessary to include a note on the plans to coordinate with the town and TDOT, that would be the developer's choice. So after discussion with Travis and discussion with the developer, we did not deem it necessary to have a note on the plans, and so that was why it was not on the plans, but it was acknowledged and we have email record for that.
Well, I've had extensive conversation with Travis and TDOT about the famous Chapter 86 and the A date and B date. And I think Travis was referring to your filings to complete because the water line that is on the railroad trestle will not be there. And by us filing, we will relocate our water line under the interstate at the state's cost and expense. So the state's going to do that. I think Travis was trying to say, you all need to be a part of this, and I don't know if you coordinated with TDOT or not.
So
that's the famous Chapter 86.
So in discussion with TDOT early on, we sent two potential, we were coordinating the sewer specifically, the sanitary sewer with them, and we did send something to TDOT. We sent two potential layouts, and we said, in order to be in compliance with your work, which layout works better essentially, and the response we received from TDOT is, please get town approval from town of Monteagle, and then we'll let you know if it works with ours. So.
And have you done it, because town approval is our engineer, obviously, so.
Yes, and so we were, I guess we were assuming town approval would be once it was approved by the planning commission, that would be town approval, we would then submit it to TDOT. No comments we received from Travis in regard to the layout. He didn't seem to have any issues with the layout or profile of the sewer. It was just making sure our building stayed out of specifically the water and sewer easements.
And what about your water line?
The water line?
Because that's the one that's on the railroad trestle that's going under the interstate.
So we didn't receive any comments about that. So the water line we currently have from the building was tying into the water line that's currently on the parcel. So
Okay.
that one's being used.
I don't know, I'm not
Okay.
playing engineer, I just
Okay.
want to make sure everything's covered. And Jonathan, then you'll get in touch with Travis to make
I
sure
can
that's on the
double
plan?
check, make sure everything's good. Again, like everything that, his last comments were before he left on vacation, which basically means that right up to now, I don't have anything that's what he put, his last, I think he had the three main ones, which were two of them noting that you're not, the town of Monteagle is not responsible.
Well, this is no project to go
Yeah.
hoop, so that's
Yeah.
why I'm trying to be as specific as possible.
If the site plan is not being approved finally tonight, I personally would feel better if the one that was approved bore a note reflecting that we don't know and we're taking any responsibility for what TDOT's going to require. And that's at the risk and expense of the applicant. Is that a problem?
No, we can add that. So we had that note on the plans originally and then weren't sure, whether we needed it or not because we had it on the plans and then one of the comments we received was make a note and it had the exact note we had on the plan, so we just wanted to make sure. But if it needs to be on our utility plan, plan and profile, we can have that on the utility plan and profile.
I think that would be.
At this point, who's confirming all of the utilities and the easements? I mean, I know you're doing that, but like in some places, they're all intersecting. And just to make sure that like the sewer is, like it looks like a 20-foot sewer easement, and if it's intersecting with water and gas and everything at some point, to make sure that the depth is going to be great enough.
Yes, so part of the, I'm not going to say concern, but the thing with the easements is in discussion with Travis, he said that whether it is prescriptive or recorded already, there needs to be a 20-foot easement on the sanitary sewer and the water main. ACE's understanding based on the survey received is that those utilities are already there. So therefore there wouldn't be conflicts with depth because those are already in the ground. So those would have been prior conflicts. And then in terms of the where proposed water tie-ins would be crossing any sanitary sewer. Again, based on the survey we have, the water would not be deep enough to have conflict with the sewer. Obviously, if any field conditions were encountered, we would work through that with contractor, you guys, TDOT, everyone who owns the utilities. But our understanding is because the utilities are already out there and it sounds like there are potentially understood easements, not recorded easements, we were showing just what is a 20-foot easement centered on what we received on the survey.
Okay, but y'all gonna clarify everything.
I have one more question. The sheet 2.0 plans has reference to a sign, and y'all don't have your sign designed at this point, correct?
Yes, so we have been in conversation with the client. We did let them know that we needed sign plans in order to have this fully approved. They are in process, followed up a couple different times, have not heard that, obviously didn't have them tonight, so just wanted to let you guys know they are in process. Didn't know if it was possible to do a conditional approval or if it just needs to be, if it's going to be tabled. When I talked to Jonathan, he said it's probably going to be tabled if you don't have them, but wanted to make sure we got all other information cleared up even if it was going to be tabled.
Jonathan, I looked at the ordinance today, and it looks like we could approve the site plan if we want to. It doesn't sound like maybe we're ready to.
Well, yeah, I know that.
And if it doesn't include a sign design, they would make a separate application for a sign permit later.
Yeah, but as I said, so basically, essentially, if there's a sign is shown on a site plan, the sign plans have to be approved with the site plan per the zoning ordinance. So by showing a sign.
So I guess if we need to add a note on the utility plan and we are going to make that, would it be permissible to remove the sign, resubmit, and then when they have the sign plans, do a separate sign application? Like they wouldn't just build it, we would make sure they submit for a sign application, but My question is, because it's already been submitted showing
Yeah.
a sign, I understand.
I would not recommend that since it's been submitted as public record that there is a sign associated with this site plan. I don't think it should be separated from the site plan.
So do you recommend tabling?
I would recommend tabling since I think if you guys
We
have,
still need more information from Travis anyway, so.
Exactly. We're going to table it anyway for the first item, you know, why not just, about the note, just to, when they table it now, and then when it comes back, we can have the sign with it and the note, and we're good.
And confirmation on the sewer and all of that.
I didn't hear what they're saying. So what does all this mean? Where are we? I didn't hear you all down there.
Oh, sorry.
We need confirmation from Travis about the sewer and everything since he's just getting back from vacation. And we need the note on there, so we would have to table it anyway.
And we need to sign.
And the sign.
Okay.
Yes, so I just want to confirm, be tabled until next month?
Yes.
Okay, so that way we could get the sign plans, add that note back, hopefully hear back from Travis, and then confirm. I mean, we have a survey of the sewer and water line, so I guess you just want us to see if we can confirm depth on that water line, because they didn't survey depths on that, we got manholes for the sewer, and so that's how we were calculating those, but on the water line, they didn't survey a depth, so.
Well, and I was just noticing that it was a 3-inch gas main going through there too, so that's, you know.
Yes, and so, I mean, that would be more for us means and methods in terms of when the contractor's out there. However, we do have notes on our plans about making sure the contractor coordinates that, and we don't want it to seem like we're just like, go out there and figure it out when you're out there, but we do understand that there's easements out there, and we're trying to respect that.
I just wanted to bring that up. I don't need all the details on the plans.
Okay.
It's just more, I
careful.
observed it and
I
I thought
appreciate
I
it.
should bring it up.
Yeah, I'd rather not run into any surprises, so I appreciate it.
We need a motion. I move that this application be tabled until the next meeting.
Second. I
Have a
second that.
motion and a second to table. Any discussion? All those for?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll get there. We had a late entry, and I think there was some miscommunication. And I guess this is still on.
Dean, are you wanting to withdraw it? Or do you want to add to the agenda?
Table it till next month there. I've got to get you that other parcel number.
Okay. So there was some miscommunication in terms of, initially, I was understood it was withdrew. I didn't get the follow-up that it was back on, needed to be back on the agenda, so it was not included.
I don't think we have to table it.
No,
Yeah,
no.
if it was never officially added, then we
It
don't
isn't
have
on
to
the
table it.
agenda.
Just for
Yeah, and he is
conversation.
going to revise it anyway, so it'd be different than what was originally being.
Now, do this gentleman and Mr. Lay have to submit something back to you to get back on the schedule?
He just needs to send me whatever his other parcel is going to be.
City Hall and.
Yeah, so as long
You'll be
as,
submitting the
yeah.
plans.
Yes, when
I
we,
s-
when we modify the plans and get the signed plans, we will submit them back to John.
Dan, you're okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
After the meeting?
Okay, any other properly presented new business? Yes, sir.
I don't know if you'll be properly presented since I'm not on the agenda, but I'll try it if you'll allow me to. Is it okay? It's the holidays last week, and it was a late phone call, so I didn't realize that I had a short time to get on the agenda. But either way, if I don't mind, I'm gonna hand this to you. Don't be intimidated by it. Like, it's only 4 pages, but the bulk of it is copies of the minutes from one of the meetings.
Okay.
And I'll be short and brief with this.
And I assume this is dealing with the truck stop?
It is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Billy.
Sorry. So it was brought to my attention a few weeks ago that RBT has attempted to try to pour footers over there, and our zoning attorneys had said in the beginning it was much harder to stop a project once it got started than it was before it got started. And just so you guys know, I made this point before, that his argument for, the owners of RBT's argument for the last 2 or 3 years is they didn't start construction because of pending litigation. All right, our attorney was in court in Chattanooga yesterday. I presented a letter to the alderman a couple of months ago showing that there is still pending litigation. And not only is it pending litigation, but it's the litigation that we believe from the very beginning would stop this altogether. And of course, they put it off to the very end. I mean, it's tactics, make them spend money until they run out of money. We're not going to run out of money. I can promise you that. We're going to fight this to the end. All right, so that said, to the point, I cannot find, to protect you from what just happened tonight, that site plan was approved with conditions. It was a conditional site plan approval, and to my knowledge, there has never been a revised site plan brought back before the Planning Commission or the Code Enforcement Officer. If it were to get built, the things that we put in place to protect ourselves on there would not have to be done. And so he's been issued a building permit, in my opinion, without an approved site plan. It was a conditional approval. He never presented a revised site plan. Also, the minutes that I provided you, there's some highlights, and to save you a bunch of reading, I highlighted some areas in there. But it was said, and there's a newspaper article at the back of it that quotes one of the owners because the minutes from that meeting aren't present online, so we have to go by what we can find. But on 2 occasions in this very room, it was stated that that property that Monteagle Record Service or Tire Repair is sitting on would be deeded to the RBT site once the site plan was approved. Also in those minutes, Brian Graber stated in that meeting their TDOT highway entrance permit was a conditional approval. That was conditional upon having a means of egress on the Forsyth Avenue. All right. Without the means of egress to Forsyth Avenue, they have no highway entrance permit. And as far as I know, according to the last thing that's on their property is a map of the mapping parcel as recent as yesterday. That property has never been deeded to RBT. Now, I know Jonathan wasn't around then, but on more than one occasion, the Southeastern Tennessee Development recommended that all those properties be consolidated before there was a site plan approved, although the Planning Commission decided to approve it anyway without them being consolidated. So here we sit today with still a piece of property that hasn't been consolidated into the site plan, and which means their traffic permit would be no good, which means they have no means of egress on the Forsyth Avenue, and the conditional approval, the conditional revised site plan has never been resubmitted back to the Planning Commission with those conditions on it. And so my point and my statement would be the fact that he does not have a valid site plan, he does not have a building permit. And I believe that some of the members of both the Planning Commission and the Council have expressed that they would have liked to have seen the stormwater ordinance been in effect for this project, but because it was proven, or at least argued, that he had a valid site plan, they couldn't hold him accountable for that. We've given you guys every means to be able to not only revoke the vested property rights, but make them present a new site plan and to hold them accountable to the things we've been concerned about. I wouldn't care if I lived in Cowan or Pelham. That development for that piece of property is bad for this town. It's bad for our water, it's bad for our air, it's bad for our traffic. It is not good for Monteagle. Even the Imagine Monteagle people that came around said they would not put a truck stop there. So that is supporting what I've just brought up, the fact that I don't believe that he's ever submitted a conditional or a revised site plan, and that the property's never been consolidated.
We will take this under advisement, make sure that all the commissioners have a copy, and I will get with the mayor and see what.
Well, I came today at the advice of my attorney, because at some point in time, and just to tell you that the people that worried about us, like I said, running out of money and fighting this thing, yesterday his case was dismissed again against us. We lost where we knew we were going to lose, but it's been 5 years and they still haven't built it. But now we're getting to the teeth of it, and the one that's fighting this for us has already agreed to fight it pro bono. So we're not gonna run out of money, but the reason I'm here today is because the next thing that's gonna come after is the town. Because we have time and time again presented evidence, and we've time and time again either been lied to or passed from this to that, and it's not gonna happen anymore. It seems like the people that come up together the most and threaten to sue the city are the ones that get what they want. And we just heard tonight that there's, some things that have been changed on the site plan, and I really believe you would consider taking out completely having conditional site plan approvals.
We will take that under advisement, and we appreciate it. We'll do our due diligence.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business, new conversation? Commissioners, y'all got anything to add tonight? Mayor?
No.
Jonathan?
Sir?
Do I have a motion?
I move we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. I have a second. All those for? Aye. All opposed? Thank you all. Happy New Year.